Are you a heart centered female entrepreneur who, when you have an opportunity to have a one on one sales conversation with your ideal client, you start wondering, what should I say? What should I ask? Well, if that is you, listen up because today I have an expert who's going to be telling you how to know exactly what to say in sales conversations. Hello, my name is Evie Diaz, and I am the expert on the simplest method of manifesting financial freedom, the FAB money scripting method. I'm a financial empowerment speaker and financial trauma healer. And today I am so grateful and delighted that we have this amazing, wonderful woman joining us as an expert guest speaker at this year's MoneyFest 2025. And I want you to listen up, get your notebook out, and be ready. And before I introduce her, I want to make sure that if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. That way you never miss when I go live. And wherever you're watching, make sure you tell us your name, a little bit about your business, and where you're tuning in from. Where are you on social media? And where in the world are you? And just thank you for tuning in. And now, without further ado, let me welcome Nicole Kramer. Hello, Nicole.
Hello, Evie. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited that you said yes to sharing your wisdom and your expertise with our community of heart centered female entrepreneurs that we call fabpreneurs. And today I have the pleasure of introducing you to those women. And can you tell us a little bit about your background so that everyone feels like they know you?
Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful that we are in a community of heart centered, kick ass women because I think that that's what's going to change the world. And I have this t shirt that I did a photo shoot in many years ago, and it literally is Women Will Change the World. And I think that it's a great opportunity for all of us. And my journey started many years ago when I left a 15-year high school math teaching career and I went into sales. And I had a lot of fears around being that salesy, pushy salesperson. So even though I electively put myself in a sales situation, I did not want to come across in any way like that version of what we all have in our head, right? And I did have a goal though. I wanted to be the number one salesperson in the country because I had a really good friend at the time and he was number one in his company. And come on, ladies, if he can do it, I can do it. Right.
I
So
love
that was
that.
my
Yeah.
goal. I was like, I want to be number one, but I don't want to be salesy. And so therein started the challenge for me. How can I do this in a way that feels really good and stays true to who I am, being a heart-centered person who really cares about people? And I figured out how to do it. And I did become number one. And when I realized, oh my God, it really is true. You really can do it in a way that feels good, where you really genuinely care about the people that you're helping. I wanted everybody to know about it. And at that time, I just started helping people within my company. I was like, hey, come on a ride along with me. And I was the number one salesperson in the country. So I had people asking me to ride along and it was great. And I got to share everything that I knew. And the way that I saw it start to impact their results got me even more excited because I thought, well, we're on to something here. For decades and decades, everything I've known about sales and everything everybody I know felt about sales was, well, it was very male dominated.
Yes.
And it was very much you got to be slick. You got to know the right things to say. And I mean, listen, I'm an exactly what to say certified guide. I'm all about knowing but we can't pretend like there's a one-liner or a script or all these slick things that we can say that get somebody to do what we want them to do. People still have free will at the end of the day. And when I
Absolutely.
discovered that what it really is us helping people make decisions, that's when I realized especially women, need to know about this, because here's why I say especially women. We're better salespeople.
Ooh, wait a minute, wait a minute. Let's pause there for a second because you said three things that I'm wondering about. I
Let's
do
go.
want to have you have the conversation of why women we're better at sales, but you mentioned about being certified exactly what to say. Now, tell us a little bit about that because that was my first appeal to you because I didn't know you. So I met not in person, but on a webinar from the NSA, National Speakers Association, Phil Jones. Then my friend Michelle Villalobos had him in her YouTube channel. And I just started getting all these newsletters and tips from Phil Jones and absolutely loved it. Then I know two females that are certified and licensed as a guide like you are. And I became very intrigued. So I became so intrigued, and I want you to talk about it, that I decided to contact the Phil Jones organization and ask for some suggestions of other females because the two that I know, they don't specialize in sales. So I
Mhm.
started looking at some videos, and I tell you, Nicole, that I loved your authenticity, your heart to heart way of really, you're an educator. So you know
Mhm.
how to educate and you make it like simple. Like when you talk, it makes me feel like I can do this. Look, she's like a friendly person. She's attractive, of course, physically, but I mean, she has a magnetic personality. And I said, wow, this is exactly what we need. So tell us just a little bit about the exactly what to say, why you decided to do that. And then tell us a little bit about what you have discovered in terms of how we, as heart centered female entrepreneurs, what we may fear about selling and how we're different. And then, of course, what you just said at the end, that we're
Yeah.
actually better at selling.
Yes. Yes. So one of my favorite things to talk about, by the way. So yes, to your point, exactly what to say was a really incredible methodology, body of work that I did not know anything about. So when I became the number one salesperson in my company, it was great and it was exciting, and I did that in ways that I had put together that worked for me, right? And after 2 years in a row of being the number one salesperson, I kind of felt like I don't know if I necessarily want to go after being number one again, but what is this? What is this all about? And I thought, gosh, I really want to find a way to relate to people even better. I was already a relationship based, high touch salesperson, but I wanted to go even deeper with how I related to people and how I supported and helped people. And so at the time, I reread How to Win Friends and Influence People, as you do, one of the best books of all time, right? About how to relate to people and how to help people. And at the end of that on Audible, Audible was like, hey, if you like that book, you're probably going to like this one. And it recommended exactly what to say. And this was in 2017. And so exactly what to say had just hit Audible for the very first time. And I think at the time it was like $4.99. It was like one of those new promotional things where they were like, hey, if you like this one, read this one. And I was like, oh, exactly what to say. That sounds cool. Okay, I'll read that. And as I'm sure you know, and maybe some of the women in your audience know, it's a short, easy read. And so as soon as you read it, you're and if you listen to it on Audible like I did, Phil's got a British accent, so it's fun and easy to listen to, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm going to listen to that again. I'm going to listen to that again, and then the next thing you know, I take this. This is the company that I worked for. I worked for a company called Airmark. This was their stationery. I write down the phrases. I start studying the phrases because I'm like, wow, I was already really successful, and now this is exciting to learn a whole new level of how to communicate with influence, right? And it's not just about what you say. I know the book is called Exactly What to Say, and it's a really perfect title in many ways, but it's actually knowing what to say because of how you show up for other people. And it really aligned with my selling style, with who I was as a salesperson. And so it really put some additional talk tracks to how I was able to show up, have conversations, and influence those conversations for the better of everyone, right? And so I got the opportunity to meet Phil in 2019. He was coming to San Diego. I was living in Southern California at the time. And I was just enthralled. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I love your work. This is so great. It was so cool to meet him at the time because he was still like this major cool celebrity in my world, right? And I said, if you ever do anything with this book, with this work, count me in. And we stayed in touch. We were friends after that. And then in 2021, he said, hey, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do a certification. And I was like, count me in. And so from that point on, I just and like, listen, I have my own body of work. I do the work that I learned in how I became successful. Like, I teach what I know, but having this body of work along with that has been really fun because I'm able to teach people something that I love and believe in. And clearly, you know, the power of it as well, since you found your way to it.
Yes. Oh, what an awesome story because I didn't know that you found the book before the certification was even out. So that's
Oh
kind
yeah.
of really cool. And
Yeah.
I want to go into how women we sell and why you said that we're better. Because I'll tell you, one of the reasons why this book appealed to me, first of all, one of the first speakers that I in this type of work that I really like was Dr. Cialdini. And I follow him on LinkedIn. And sometimes I've had conversations with him because I like it. Now he is from like a long time ago. Then I had a speaker a few years ago when we had this conference for men and women. It was called The Sales Made Easy. And I had Tim, who has a book called Magic Words, which I believe initially was the name for Phil Jones. Interestingly enough, though, I had Tim's book, Magic Words, in my library here for a long time before I knew that I was going to meet him and that I was going to have him in one of my events. And then, of course, the rest is history because I already said, I started following Phil. And then from there, that's how I met you. Now, it's intriguing to me that you said that we are actually, as women, and I want women to hear this, we are good at selling naturally. Well, those are my words, but go ahead and elaborate. Why do you say that?
Well, I think we are better. We just don't know it yet because a lot of women have, I'm raising my hand here. I'm not saying a lot of women like I'm othering anyone. We have fears and reservations about how we come across. It's very important to us that we wouldn't be that pushy, salesy salesperson. And I think many of the qualities that women inherently have are what actually make really good salespeople, right? Actually caring, listening. We know how important it is to feel seen and heard because if there's anybody who understands what it's like to not feel seen and heard, I think women have, right, have experienced that. And we understand the importance of building empathy and connecting with people and genuinely looking to help them and serve them. And we're also not in a rush. And this is very contradictory to the way a lot of people teach sales, right? It's there's what's the word that I'm looking for? An acronym, ABC. And in the sales world, it means always be closing. And I've changed it. I am all about ABC as long as it's always be connecting.
I love that. Always be connected. Oh my God. I love that.
Always be connecting. And that's not, listen, this is not giving anyone a pass to not ask for the business when the time is right. Right? I will absolutely always make sure that in any training that I do and anything that I'm talking about, listen, we still have to ask for the business. The difference is the way sales has always been taught, the way sales has always been executed. A, it's been by men traditionally for hundreds of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And B, the way that it is taught is not as much about slowing things down. It's about get the sale at all costs. And I think that's very salesy. I think that's about your agenda. I think that's about what you want. And in the exactly what to say world, we have four really important cornerstones. One of them is people do things for their reasons, not yours. And when we're approaching a sale because we're attached to the outcome, because we need the sale, because we've got a quota to meet, like whatever the deal is, if you're trying to get somebody to do something on your account, you are being the salesy weirdo. You are being that pushy, slimy version. And I'm not saying we can't want sales. I'm not saying that we can't ask for the business when the time is right. But I think that's a big piece that women are willing to do is really genuinely slow things down, be curious. That's naturally something that we're a lot better at. Ask great questions. Like if I were to, and Phil's a genius, so I wouldn't do this, but if I were to rename his book, I would call it Exactly What to Ask. Now, he says this as well. He's like, it's really about exactly what to ask. And I think women are just great at asking questions and staying curious and genuinely showing people that we care. So all of those things together, I think, make a new way of selling that we've never really seen before because we've been able, and when I say we, whoever was selling, whoever was doing, we've been able to get away with being more salesy. We've been able to get away with maybe not having the consumer's best interest in mind because we didn't have the level of visibility that we have now. But the way the world works, everything's visible. Everything's out there in the open. And so buyers are a lot more savvy. They're also a lot more cautious. We're in a trust recession. We're in a time where people are not just jumping on board right away. They're taking more time to make decisions. And so I think when we're pressuring somebody to make a decision, And again, I could go down so many paths with this. I think there is a time and a place to hold somebody accountable to a decision that they've said that they want to make. But when you're just talking about having a conversation with somebody and making the sale, slowing it down and caring about what they want and what's important to them is actually the best way to have influence and make the sale. And I think sometimes people are too quick to try to get married on the first date.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what I always say. Stop trying to get married on the first date. Like you can have a second date and a third date and a fourth date. And it's probably a really good idea that you do so that you can get to know that person and they can get to know you to further explore if this is the right next step.
Absolutely. It's such a great reminder. And, I want you to just kind of surmise or summarize, same word, what women have to look forward to when you come to spread some of your wisdom with us in a week from today, because we are going into MoneyFest a week from today. And I know that this particular topic, every year I make it a point to have something related to sales, because it seems that there's always a need. There's always more to learn, or so it seems. Maybe not. Maybe you'll be the last time that we have to ask someone. But can you tell us a little bit about what we have to look forward to by learning from you this coming Friday and Saturday, October 31st? Yes, ladies, Halloween, but we're going to come dressed. If you want to dress as anything, come dress as what we call our financially free fabpreneur future self. That is, come in the identity of your financially free, fabulous entrepreneurial woman that you are intending to be. And so, what do they have to look forward to next week?
Well, I love that we are very clear that sales is it's the building block of what you're going to do with the money that you make, right? Like that's how we make more money. That's how we give ourselves a raise. But what has to be in place before sales can be made is trust and connection. So what we're going to be talking about next week and what I'm going to be presenting are the things that have to be there in order to earn trust. In addition to knowing how to slow things down and earn trust and build rapport in the conversation, I'm going to be sharing some really powerful questions that you can ask. Like I said, it's exactly what to ask is how we want to approach these conversations. And I'm going to share 3 really powerful questions live together when I'm presenting. And then I also have a gift to share with everybody that will be some additional questions that you can use to close more deals and be more confident in your sales conversations.
I love that. And it's interesting because I've heard a lot. You mentioned the word the trust economy or recession. How did you put it?
Mhm,
Recession?
mhm,
The trust
mhm,
recession. And you mentioned the word connection because,
mhm,
every Thursday at 4 o'clock Eastern time, I do networking, but I don't like calling it networking. I call it Fabpreneurs Community Connections. And the
mhm.
reason is because I believe that we want to connect. And you just said that. So I know that said to recap, but I must ask you about that, about the importance of connection and exactly what does it mean that we are in a trust recession and why that is so important for us to understand that.
Yeah. We are in a place where trust takes a lot longer to build. Like I said, consumers are a lot more savvy. They're a lot more suspicious about certain things where they're going to put their intentions and their investments. And it takes a little bit longer at this point because what we've been, I guess, accustomed to is just sell, 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 and we buy. And then we maybe didn't feel like it was the right fit, or maybe, and I think what we have an opportunity to do as people who sell something that's incredible that can change somebody's life is allow them to feel like it's their decision because it is, and not make them feel the pressure and the urgency around doing something just because we want them to do it. Because at the end of the day, there's 3 different types of buyers. There's now buyers, there's soon buyers, and there's later buyers. And
Ooh, I
everybody
like
in
that.
this
I got to put
world,
that in the chat. Wait a
yeah,
minute.
everybody
Hold
in this
on, because
world has
you're
free
giving us
will.
pearls. Now buyers. What
Yeah.
was the other one?
Now buyers,
Uh-huh.
soon buyers,
Soon
and later
buyers
buyers. Mhm.
and later buyers. Oh, I like that. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to write that down.
And it is, I mean, that's, if you're talking buyers, those are the 3 categories. They're either going to buy now, they're going to buy soon, or they're going to buy later. And if they're not a buyer, then they're going to buy never, right? So that's just a non-buyer. And I think what we have to remember is everybody in this world has free will. to do what they want to do. It is not actually we don't have control over when somebody is positioned to make that decision. So our real play here is to understand that our job is to build our pipeline. Our job is to connect with as many people who need what we have as possible, and nurture and connect and build rapport, and most importantly, provide value every step of the way so that when it is time for them to buy, they already know who they want to do it with, because we have remained front of mind from a place of service, from a place of connection, not from a place of pressure and urgency, right? From a place of truly saying, hey, come over here, wherever your thing is, whatever it is that you do, right? Whether it's online, in person, have events where you can nurture people, connect with them further, get to know them, provide value for them. And when it is time for them to buy, it's a no-brainer. You're already front of mind. They know that they already want to do it with you.
Wow, you've already given us so much. Is there anything else that you want to say before I say my final words? Because I feel that, wow, 20 minutes have gone by so fast, and I feel like I have to come back and listen to the replay because I feel that you've given us so much already. Is there anything else you want to say before we end today?
Do not miss next Friday, because some of the questions that I'm going to be sharing are probably going to make you feel so confident and empowered in your conversations that you are going to want to have a lot more sales conversations. That's where it's going to put you. So we're going to talk about some really powerful questions. So don't miss next Friday. And regardless whether you can come next Friday or not, the last thing I would leave you with is keep staying curious.
I love that. Well, now everyone will know why I selected you. And I want to thank all the women that applied. We had over 50 women apply to speak. And I always say that I always want to bring women that I've either invested with, work with, or want to work with. In other words, that what they have is so amazing that I definitely want to learn. And that's why I want to share it. Not that everyone else didn't, but for me, the 3 women that I selected this year are just that. And so now you have a chance, you that are watching, to, if you have not registered, you have a chance to register today because you just heard her. And I'm going to encourage you to hit replay over and over again, because right here in this interview, Nicole Kramer has given us a lot of what I call pearls of wisdom. And you want to take notes, and you want to note that she's going to be sharing more next Friday and Saturday. And you want to make sure that you go to MoneyFest2025.com and get your ticket today, because you want to learn from her wisdom, her experience. And if you ever wanted to also be number one in sales, even if it's just for you, then guess what? She can tell you how to do it because she's done it. So make sure you go to MoneyFest2025.com right now. I want to say thank you so much, Nicole. I'm even more excited now to listen to what you have to say. And maybe we'll have you back. Maybe we'll have an opportunity to have people practice this. And I'm looking forward to expanding and collaborating more as, this year we decided to do one event like we do every year. But I was just talking to my event manager that I just hired this year. And she's like, you should do more events. And I'm like, I think I should. So I'm excited that I have an opportunity to get to know you more, learn from you, and more importantly, share you with anyone and everyone that I can, because I think that what you have to offer is immensely valuable to heart-centered female entrepreneurs who sometimes feel that sales is such a task that they miss the mark. And let me tell you, the way you put it today, you spoke with such levity that it makes me feel like, geez, there's nothing to this. And I love that. So I want to thank you from my heart to yours. I appreciate you, and I look forward to next weekend learning from you and continuing on to share your expertise wherever I can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Evie. It was so fun to be here. See you
Thank
all
you.
next Friday.
Yay. See you next Friday. Bye.